My mother doesn't like me dealing in African politics, and I understand. I'm an American living over here in Uganda, and Kenya is right next door, and I love to frequent Kenya. It is our second country that we visit. The name of this channel is called Kenganda. Get it? Kenya, Uganda. But unfortunately, Mom, I'm sorry. I have to make this video. And the reason why is because I believe it's clear. President Ruto most likely needs to step down. Rewind! President Ruto has been in office for about a year, and there were a lot of great expectations coming from a younger leader who wanted to bring change to a country that is young and developing with a lot of people in Generation Z. But the issue was that Ruto inherited a country that owed a lot of money, not only to the United States, but its largest debt is to China. And unfortunately, Kenya spends a lot of money financing the government than it does investing in the infrastructure or even investing in new industry or even luring foreign investment into the country. So you're paying for staff, you're paying for MPs, and the little you have left, you're paying for loans in your debt, which doesn't give very much back to the country. And what is a way that you can raise more money? Raise more taxes. Here we have with the finance bill, which was supposed to raise a lot of taxes on weird things like bread, cooking oil. I'm not gonna go into it. You probably heard it. And Generation Z was like, no. They took to the streets. They protested. They were burning down people's houses. MPs, clubs, and businesses were getting exposed. It was crazy. It got so bad. At first, they had them talking like this during the protest.
Kuhusu vijana wetu wa Kenya. Hawa vijana ni watoto wetu, tumewazaa, na ni watoto wetu ambao tumewalea. Mimi nataka niwaambie hawa vijana wetu. Mimi nawapongeza kwa kujitokeza na kushughulika na mambo ya taifa lenu la Kenya. Our young people have stepped forward to engage on the affairs of their country. They have done a democratic duty to stand and be recognized. And I want to tell you, we are going to have a conversation with you so that we can identify your issues and we can work together as a nation. I am very proud of our young people. They have stepped forward tribeless. They have stepped forward peaceful. And I want to tell them, we are going to engage them. We are going to have a conversation so that together we can build a greater nation. What I want to assure them is that we are concerned about their issues. In this year's budget, I have enhanced the budget going to CDF to increase by 10 billion so that young people can get bursary, and young people, we can build ICT hubs so that these young people can get digital jobs, because we know the challenge of unemployment in our country. Let me also tell the young people of our nation that in this year's budget also, we have increased our higher education loans board so that no child from any vulnerable family can lack an opportunity to be in a TVET or in a university on account of the ability of their parents or guardians to pay for their fees. We're going to make sure that every child has access to higher education. And I want to commit to Kenya. We are a democratic country. We build our institutions, whether it is the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, civil society. We agree that all these institutions are necessary for us to be a greater nation. And we will support all institutions to make decisions for Kenya so that together we can be a great nation. We must continue to be a peaceful, we must continue to be a nation of the rule of law so that together we can build a greater nation. So asanteni sana watu wa Nyahururu. Mimi nimefurahi sana kufika hapa. Askofu, ukikuja katika diocese hii, kuna barabara pale inaitwa Gashana. Watu wa hapa waliniuliza nitafute pesa ya kutengeneza hiyo barabara, inawasumbua sana. Mimi nishakubaliana na mjumbe wao ya kwamba hiyo barabara tuko na pesa sasa, tutaitengeneza. Hapa karibu na ofisi yako pia kuna bypass inaitwa Transcom. Hiyo bypass vile vile tutaitengeneza kwa sababu watu wa hapa wameniuliza tufanye hivyo. Na mambo yale mengine yote tutashirikiana. Mimi nataka niseme asante sana watu wa Nyahururu, tunawapenda sana. Mwathani amurathime. Mungu awabariki sana. Thank you.
Then it got so bad that Ruto said this.
Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill, and it shall subsequently be withdrawn, and I have agreed with these members that that becomes our collective position. Accordingly, there is need for us as a nation to pick up from here and go into the future.
Yeah, he said we're not even going to vote on the finance bill. Generation Z in Kenya wasn't done protesting. They were still going to march even after he said that. And then you had other guys, older politicians, begging Generation Z to stop. And they were saying things like this.
I want to appeal to Generation Z to call off the protests for tomorrow because their cry has been heard by the president. The president has accepted that there was an issue, there was a disconnect, and the president has done the right thing. And I think it's only fair that we call off the protest so that we don't have further loss of lives and destruction of property. It's an appeal that I've made as a father, as a parent, to our young children. We love you, we respect you. Please, I beseech you as your father, now that the president has given in and accepted to go with the wishes of the Kenyan people, please, my sons and daughters, I plead with you to save lives, to save bloodshed, to save loss of property and lives. My sons, my daughters, please make an announcement this evening and call off the protest. And then we can begin the process of truthful engagement with the Kenyan people. We can begin an honest conversation on how to work on our country. Finally, I want to ask the president and our government to consider a plan on how to help those families that lost their livelihoods as a result of lack of proper advice by the National Intelligence Service. All these things happened because of government failure. It should never happen. Let us see how to compensate to those families, those who are dead. We help those who are in hospital with bills, and we help to bury them.
Unfortunately, it turned from reject the finance bill to Ruto must go. I believe I'm going to give a few reasons as a foreigner why President Ruto might step down or why he might be forced to step down. Number one, Ruto doesn't understand his population and what his population is going through. That's evident. Now, again, I'll give it to him. He inherited a situation that was already there. Spending was out of control. The country wasn't in the best situation. But he ran for president. So the ownership is on him. Let me look at some of the things that the current Kenyan government is spending on that has been exposed. Let's look at this 1 billion Kenyan shillings, which is spent on furniture and office renovation every year. As you can see, that's $7,766,000 right now with today's exchange rate. By the time this video is published, it could have changed. What does 1 billion Kenyan shillings on furniture and office renovation mean for Kenyan taxpayer? That's how much they spend on the office and furniture renovation. That's $7.7 million. It means you can get 1.3 million sanitary towels for girls, or what we call in America, Kotex, maxi pads, things like that, right? How many public children would benefit from school feeding program in a year? 139,000, almost 140,000. How many junior secondary school teachers will be paid a year? Almost 2,400, 2,384. Let's look at Rachel's Ruto's almost 700 million budget that she gets every year, allegedly according to this. It would build at least 13 new hospitals, 8.7 million packages of pads. It would give 360-kilometer road upgrades, almost 7,000 C-section procedures, at least almost 40 million diapers, 38.4 million diapers. Now you guys see this, right? What they could have done was just literally cut some of the budget. That's why Ruto is saying things like this now.
I know citizens have said that there is no need for the office of the first lady or second lady,
third lady.
These are offices that were there. But because we have to live within our means, those offices from tomorrow, this new budget which is starting tomorrow, they will not be part of our equation. Because in the face of what has happened, we have to trim down every other area. And in fact, not just those, many other spaces are going to be trimmed down to reflect the new reality, especially after the finance bill was taken down by myself. When I said we take this down, we are going to cut our clothes. We are going to cut our
coat.
Our coat, the size of our clothes.
That leads me to reason number 2. Ruto is not a strong leader. He's not fit for leadership. He is, at best, a vice president. Listen, nice guy, probably a great guy. I don't have a problem with the guy at all. This is me as a foreigner. Just seems like he isn't the strongest person to be the president. And it's not me saying this. It's a lot of Kenyans that are saying this. It's like, okay, you went from the finance bill to pulling the finance bill down to now trying to appease what the people are saying, which is great. But what that shows me is you don't really have any power or any leverage there, right? So now the people are just bullying the president, which I understand why they're doing it, but that's what it seems. And it seems like to me, he just didn't anticipate what was going on. Number 3, these people have no leader. There is no one leader like a Odinga Raila, who is, Luo, I believe, and has a big following. It isn't, Kenyatta, who's Kikuyu. All of these people are Gen Z. They don't want a leader. They're all coming together. You can't just take one person out. They've already been financing people who have been hurt. They've been raising money. They've been raising hell everywhere. Eldoret, Kisumu, Nakuru, everywhere. All of these people are everywhere. They tell me that MPs are afraid. MPs are literally afraid. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm gonna say it again. MPs literally are afraid to go home right now. They're afraid of being abducted or having their homes burnt or being assassinated. That's something that's very, very traumatizing, right? And so it seems like even being associated with him is bad. These MPs voted yes on the finance bill. Look at them now. They're literally begging for mercy, as if they want their life to be spared. The next reason, this movement is not about tribalism. In most African countries, people tend to vote based on tribalism. We've seen it with the Luos, Kalenjins. You've seen it with Kikuyus. This movement, everybody's rejecting it. Everyone rejects it, right? And this is something that is hard to stop. This is kind of like, it reminds me of the Arab Spring, that kind of happened in Egypt and these places, Turkey, like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. This is what it looks like. And unfortunately, I think that when you have no leader, you have no tribalism, You have people that want you to go. How do you maintain trust with people that don't trust you as a politician? And I feel like eventually, he's going to try to give in and say, hey, I'm going to change that. And the president is trying to do those things. I just think that many people feel like it's a little bit too late, because I would say it's a good thing he did reject the finance bill, and he checked the temperature in the room. I know he did the right thing. The problem was he didn't check the temperature in the room before that happened. And I'm going to tell you who influenced him to do it. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund. They said, hey, you need to raise more taxes if you want to get more money from us. But they were already in debt, and he had to do this, at least he thought, to continue to do what he was doing to get more money for the country to finance more things. Instead of looking at cutting the budgets, cutting extraordinary spending, taking the hit from the government, and instead of making the people pay everything and the government being what they would consider themselves, some even leaders just said, hey, we're corrupt. I've heard one MP say that. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of Fair Use. We're out.